Hello and welcome back to another video. My lighting might be a little bit off because I left the cord to my ring light at home, so I am just using the light in my room, which means this side of my face is going to be a little bit shadowy, but it's all cool. Today I'm going to give you 8 tips to help you pass and study and everything for your AP classes. So a little bit background on me. Back in my 4 years of high school, I took 10 AP classes. I took 8 AP exams and I passed 6 of them. So, I don't know, I feel like I've kind of learned my way around AP exams. I learned what worked for me, I learned what didn't work for me. I'm going to share some of my experience, tricks, and tips to help you pass your AP exams. Tip number 1. You're going to be so tired of hearing this, you've probably heard this in every video and tip list and teacher's advice and everything that you can find. Do not wait until the last minute. Seriously, do not. I started studying, once I got good at AP exams, I started studying around Christmas. So the whole first semester, you're learning information, there's not really much to go back on or review yet. So come Christmas, I would typically ask for an AP prep book for every AP class that I was in, and I would start studying then. If anyone's curious, I personally used Princeton Review AP exam books. I don't know. The way they talked about all the content just made it very, they kind of like broke everything down into layman's terms, and I just found it easier. And the way that the book flowed, because I did try, I think it was Barton's review books, I think they're called. I know it started with a B, but I didn't really like their books as much. I felt like they just weren't interesting enough. I feel like Princeton Review does a really good job at like holding my interest as well as they can. But anyway, if you wait until the last few weeks or the last month or so or something like that, it's not going to be as easy. I'm not saying you'll fail completely if you wait until the last month, but you could get such a higher score if you start earlier, and it'll be a lot less stressful if you start earlier. Tip number 2, it is so much better to understand the content. Like, it's so much better to understand less content in greater detail rather than like a whole list of random facts that don't really connect to each other. So I highly recommend really delving deep into certain topics and really be able to talk about them. Like, go to your parents or whoever you live with, or your dog even, or your teacher or your friends, and have a conversation about what you're learning about. Even just lecture them. Like, if they're friends and family, they're gonna support you. So just lecture them. And if you can really get through having a conversation about this topic, then you'll know it so much more, and you'll know that you know it, so you won't even have to really worry about, do I remember this and this and this? Like, you'll know what you know. And that is so much better than knowing the list of the presidents, but not really knowing what they did and when they were president. Like, those are important things, and it's really just a lot better to know a lot about a certain thing rather than a lot of random things. Especially multiple choice. I know I would always get screwed up in multiple choice if I didn't really know facts very well. Number 3, get enough sleep. You've probably heard this one before too, but I just mean throughout the entire year, not just the day before the exam. Get enough sleep, because you're not going to remember as much, you're not going to retain as much information if you are sleep deprived of any kind, even if it's just a couple hours. If you're losing an hour or 2 of sleep every night, every week, then yeah, you're sleep deprived. And in your classes, you're not going to focus on your teacher's lectures as well, and you're not going to retain the information, and really you're just wasting your own time at that point. And this brings me into tip number 4, which is study right before you go to sleep. So there have been some studies that say that you will retain a lot more information right before you go to bed. I have found that I retain the most information about the half hour. Okay, so I study, and then half an hour, and then I go to sleep. So I have found that everything before that half hour of me sleeping, I retain really well. So study, then I kind of get ready for bed for about half an hour, and then I go to sleep. I retain so much from that study session. Tip number 5, take study breaks, and take a lot of them. So over the years, I have come to realize that the best studying technique for me is to study in small increments and take small little breaks in between them. So I will read or study or whatever for 5 to 15 minutes, and then I'll take a break for 5 to 15 minutes, and then I will study again. And that works so well for me, especially with history type, especially with like social studies and like some English, I guess, topics, and science as well. Math, I more so need that break just to like refresh my brain. But as far as like memorizing and studying, that works really well for me. So I'll study for 5 to 15 minutes, and then during my break, I'll like watch TV, I'll talk to friends or family or do whatever, but like something that is not related to what I'm studying. And then I will come back to what I was studying, and if I still remember the information, then I will move on to the next section. If I don't, then I will repeat that section. And I still do that in college. Like, that is basically how I study everything. Funny story, this actually used to drive my family crazy, how like the way that I studied, especially for AP exams, because I would get my test books and then I would bring them everywhere. I would bring them to the restaurants, to family events, to the grocery store, and I would study for like 5 minutes at a time. So like my stepdad and my brother were always like, you're not even studying, like you're just like, I don't know if I was embarrassing them or something with my like little study textbook or something like that, but yeah, it drove them crazy because it just didn't, to them it didn't look like I was studying, but I was. Tip number 6, study in groups, or don't study in groups. Really depends on what works for you. So like I said earlier, having conversations with people about the content and stuff will really help you learn. Like, discussions are really good for helping make those neural connections and everything, so you will remember things a lot better. So getting people in a group that are in the same AP class as you will really help, get those discussions going, and it really helps with memorizing stuff. I will say though, maybe group study sessions are not for everybody. I know back my junior year, I took AP European History, and I had a couple friends who were in that class, so we used to go to Panera. We did this like 2 or 3 times. We would go to Panera to study. We would sit down, we would study for like 2 minutes, and then we would all agree to go get food, and we'll study after we eat. So we'd get our food, we would be talking, we would eat, we'd finish, and then we'd be like, okay, let's study. We'd study for like 5 minutes, and then talk for like an hour, and then another 5 minutes, and like basically over like 3 hours of us being at Panera, we studied like 20 minutes at most. So for us, that was really not productive at all. So I do just kind of, know what works for you. Set up those groups if it will help you, but if it's not going to help you, don't waste your time. Tip number 7, watch Crash Course videos. If you have not heard of Crash Course, I'm shocked, because if you're in an AP class, I feel like you've heard of Crash Course, but maybe that's just where I'm from. But oh my gosh, Crash Course saves lives. It saves lives. I will definitely link them down below. If you don't know about them, it's John Green and Hank Green. I don't know if there's anyone, I think they've added some people to their staff since I was in high school, but when I watched it, it was just Hank Green and John Green, and they're brothers if you don't know that. But yeah, they just do these like 8 to 15 minute shorts about a certain topic in AP classes, and oh my gosh, they're brilliant. They are so good to study with. Definitely recommend Crash Course. If you are in an AP class, you have to look at Crash Course. I'll let them speak for themselves. Number 8, don't waste your time. So really know your strengths and weaknesses. I know for me, I have always been a pretty strong writer, and I can write pretty quickly too. So, those FRQ questions and everything like that, any kind of essays in the AP exams were not like the biggest struggle to me. Like I know that they pushed on us like, oh, you're gonna have to write these essays really fast. I can pretty much write, as long as it's like possible, I guess, I can write an essay pretty much as quickly as they need me to. So the timing was never an issue for me. The writing was never that much of an issue with me. Now, I'm not saying don't practice your writing, but I know for me, I just kind of needed to write a couple of essays in class, have it graded, see what I could do better and stuff like that. But at home, you're always told to go home and take practice tests. At home, practicing writing essays or timing my essays would not have been a good use of my time, because I really didn't need that. What I did need was practice on multiple choice. I am very much that kind of person who gets stuck in between 2 answers, and there's just no saving me at that point. It is literally a 50-50 on if I'll get that one right. So I need to practice on multiple choice, and I need to practice on figuring out which were the best choices. So that's a better use of my time, studying stuff like that and practicing multiple choice parts of the exams. If you need help with writing, then you're gonna wanna focus more on the writing and stuff like that. So, don't waste your own time, know your strengths and weaknesses. And if you don't know your strengths and weaknesses, I mean, at this point we're in February. I don't know what time of year it is that you're watching this, but I'm posting this in February of 2019. So at this point, your teachers have seen your writing and they've seen your tests. If you don't know what your strengths and weaknesses are, go ask them. They will tell you. All right, that is all of my tips. I wish you all the best of luck with your AP exams. I really hope this video helped you out, helps you figure out how you want to study, and helps you get 4s and 5s on those AP exams, or even 3s, depending on if your college accepts 3s. If this video was helpful to you, please give it a thumbs up so I know to do more studying AP school type videos, and leave a comment down below any other tips that you might have or things that are working for you, or just tell me what AP classes you're in. Maybe we've been in the same AP classes. I was in 10 of them, so it's likely that we've been in the same AP class. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Bye!